Hello, this is Steve Zubrick from the National Weather Service Weather Forecast Office in Sterling, Virginia, with the 11 a.m. Hurricane Zeta briefing. So looking at threat levels from Hurricane Zeta expected in the Mid-Atlantic region, primarily there are two. There are potential for heavy rainfall and also for some strong winds in some of our marine areas on the Chesapeake Bay and lower tidal Potomac. Looking at the track based off the 11 a.m. Latest update this morning, October 28th, Zeta should make landfall along the Louisiana coast sometime late this afternoon, and then it's going to rapidly accelerate to the northeast and stretch across the mid-Atlantic region during the day on Thursday and the Thursday evening. So the main threats for here are heavy rainfall, localized flooding, and maybe some strong winds. So looking at the potential for those tropical storm force winds, the blue line here indicates the track of Zeta based off the 11 a.m. advisory. Looks like it's 10% or less for most areas. Best chances would be across southern Maryland, say St. Mary's, Calvert counties, and also on the eastern shore. Looking at the expected arrival time of those tropical storm force winds, if they occur, it would be sometime essentially during Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening. And again, the main threat would be across southern Maryland. Looking at wind gusts, generally for most of the area in the mid-Atlantic region that we serve, wind gusts are going to be generally in the 20 to 25 mile per hour range. And you could see some 30 to 35 mile an hour wind gusts across southern Maryland, and then also maybe some gale force wind gusts up to 34 to 48 knots across the lower Maryland portion of the Chesapeake Bay and the lower tidal Potomac. And there could be, as a result, in some of those areas in the southern Maryland particularly, there could be some isolated downed trees due to the wet ground. For rainfall, we are under a slight risk for excessive rainfall for Thursday and Thursday night. We could see some instances of localized flooding. And one thing to keep in mind is that in some of the urban areas, we have the leaves falling, and that could clog some of the drains, could create some local high water in areas. Looking at the most likely rainfall, the graphic on the left, generally speaking 2 to 3 inches across much of our region, with a band of maybe 3 to 4 inches expected from about Charlottesville across southern Maryland and into the Annapolis, Baltimore area, and even as far north as Bel Air, Maryland, along the western shore of the Chesapeake Bay. The reasonable worst case rainfall would be a little bit more than 4 inches, generally in that same band from Charlottesville up to Annapolis. Not looking at much of a threat for severe weather. Some thunderstorms are possible maybe Thursday night as the system tracks through. So again, looking at the threats from the remnants of Hurricane Zeta as it passes through our region on Thursday. Essentially, it's a slight risk of some flooding due to heavy rain. Not expecting much in the way of severe thunderstorms, but could hear a rumble of thunder Thursday night. Wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour will generally be across portions of southern Maryland, and that could cause some trees to come down, maybe isolated power outages. And on the marine areas, we could see gale warnings issued on the lower Chesapeake portion of the Maryland Bay and of the Chesapeake Bay, and also in the lower tidal Potomac. On coastal areas for tidal flooding, we're not really expecting much. We don't have flooding minor forecast in the forecast, but minor flooding is possible Thursday and the Thursday night, and again possibly later this weekend. Keep an eye on that. And we're not expecting any main stem river flooding. And that concludes the briefing on 11 a.m. October 28th, Wednesday. On